Hello and welcome to Healthy India. I'm your host Lottie Alaric, and I'm back with you with a set of doctors when we will be talking about a certain condition, in fact a number of conditions in this hot season, because whenever the heat rises it also brings with it a lot many illnesses. But there are certain things that you and I can do, and we can take care of ourselves at least from those illnesses. So what are these heat related illnesses, and how can we get rid of them? And in case we do suffer of something, then how should we treat them? This is all that we'll try and find out in this 1 hour. So to take this discussion forward, I have in the studio 3 eminent doctors, and I'm very happy to welcome Professor Dr. B.K. Khaitan from the Department of Dermatology from AIIMS. I welcome you to the show. Then we are also joined by Director Professor Dr. Arvind Saili, Department of Neonatology from the Lady Hardinge Medical College. I welcome you too.
Thank you.
And we are also joined by Dr. Mitra Basu, who's Scientist F from the Department of General Medicine from INMAS. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, Lottie.
So well folks, before I start asking questions to my panelists here, let's try and take a look at this report, which will give us a bit of an idea as to what are these heat-related illnesses.
Summer is a time that is dreaded by all. With abnormally high temperatures, life becomes drudgery. One keeps looking for ways to cool oneself. Our body normally cools itself by sweating. During hot weather, especially with high humidity, sweating is not enough. Our body temperature can rise to dangerous levels and can develop a heat illness. Most heat illnesses occur from staying out in the heat too long. Exercising too much and physical condition are also factors. Older adults, young children and those who are sick or overweight are most at risk. Heat-related illness is a serious medical condition resulting from the body's inability to cope with a particular heat load and includes heat cramps, heat exhaustion, heat syncope and heat stroke. The most important measures to prevent heat strokes are to avoid becoming dehydrated and to avoid vigorous physical activities in hot and humid weather. Drinking water is the best way to beat the oppressive summer that has led to a spurt in heat stroke cases. As soon as you feel symptoms of dehydration like nausea, fatigue, rapid breathing and irritability, which are not being controlled by home measures, you must seek medical assistance. Medical experts say that dehydration or lack of water content in the body can even lead to death if it goes undetected. Bureau Report, Lok Sabha Television.
Well, Dr. Khaitan, right at the onset, I think I would like to ask you that how should one prepare for this summer season before one gets into the kind of diseases that can set in?
Sure. As the weather changes, one has to change certain things in lifestyle. To start with, say, clothings. You know, in hot and humid weather, one has to wear lighter clothes made of lighter fabric. Cotton is always preferred. And as you said in the initial aspect of change of weather, that lot of water has to be required. Sweating is one important defense mechanism given by nature. And you will be surprised that at the maximum one can sweat, at the maximum, not normally, more than 10 liters of sweat in a day. And you must have watched a movie where a sprinter is, showing the sweat, full half bucket of sweat. That is possible.
Right.
But normally 1 to 2 liters of sweat every day. So you have to compensate that. So to take care of hydration and allow sweating. To allow sweating, proper clothing.
That's the preparation. All right. Now, Dr. Saili, let's talk about children now. Since you're a pediatrician, I'm sure you'd like to throw light on that. So what is the preparation that parents can do? Because normally what one sees, especially in the newborn children, parents have a tendency to cover these children, whatever the season, although I don't understand why. So what is the doctor's order there?
Well, in our endeavor to keep the baby's temperature normal, we try to cover them. But having said that, in summers one should not cover them overly.
Right.
Which really means that if you cover the baby too much, baby is going to have a lot of high temperature. That high temperature can really be detrimental to the baby's well-being. So one should cover the baby just appropriately. Suppose if the baby is in the air-conditioned room, then you should just cover the baby.
Right.
Otherwise, he should just be normally dressed. That's the idea. That's one thing. And the next is about the hydration bit. For the newborn babies, we will say the hydration is best procured from the breast milk. So give them extra breast milk. That's the idea. So the fluids and the heat protection are two major things which have to be done in the summers. And then for the children, one has to be careful in terms of their going out and playing. They should not be allowed to play in the peak summer.
That's right.
The peak hours. So that is something around 11 to 4 is the time which is the heat is the maximum. That is the time when they should be avoided from going out in the heat. They should be dissuaded from doing that. That's about it.
Right. So, Dr. Basu, same question to you, that what are the preparations that one can do, you know, just to keep away or to save oneself from this extreme heat?
See, as Dr. Sally already mentioned, the basic concept is the prevention. Prevention from what we call is something like heat stress on one's body.
Right.
As far as adult population is concerned, heat stress, we should understand the two basic mechanisms which we combat heat is two most important mechanism is one is evaporation of the sweat, as Dr. Khaitan stressed its importance. Second is what we call is convection of, like from central part of our body, the body rearranges the blood flow to the skin, and from through this blood, the peripheral blood vessels, they are opened, central blood vessels, they are constricted. So the more the hotter part of blood that comes to the skin, and from skin the heat goes into the surrounding atmosphere. So once we have to dissipate the heat into the surrounding atmosphere, it depends upon a couple of factors. Like what's the ambient temperature of the surrounding atmosphere. So the temperature should be as less as possible, but in some conditions it is undesirable. Like in a closed car, even if the data says, the control experiments, they say, even if the ambient temperature outside is about 21 degrees centigrade, in a closed car, which is parked outside, it may cross 49 degrees centigrade. And as we know, after 41.8 or 42 degrees centigrade, it is detrimental to human tissues. So there are deaths which are reported of pets, small babies, elderly people who somehow they are kept inside the car waiting for somebody else to come after some time, and when the person approaches back, there are undesirable situations which have happened. Second important thing is the evaporation is relative humidity of the atmosphere.
Right.
If it is a dry atmosphere, temperature is high, it is better than a saturated atmosphere, a wet atmosphere where temperature is not as high. So this relative humidity of the environment is very important factor to reduce the heat. Rather, I should say it is the most important factor to reduce the heat stress over one's body. So we should be very cautious when it's a closed environment and we play water cooler, desert coolers. There is a lot of water evaporation happens. The water vapors, they enter into the room. Room is closed. There is no exhaust fan, and that leads to a lot of heat stress. So we should prevent from those surroundings.
All right. Well, so I think that's really very well explained. Now, Dr. Khaitan, the skin is the first organ that comes into contact with extreme heat, and now with ultraviolet rays and all that we have. So, which means that sunburn sometimes become very common, and which can really irritate the skin. Now, how dangerous can this get for a person?
So, in fact, there are two things. One is direct sun rays on the skin, what you are calling sunburn. That is the effect of the rays. And the second is temperature, as already been mentioned. And in addition to humidity, there is another factor, that is airflow. So, what you say comfort is, there are three components. What is the ambient temperature, what is the humidity, relative humidity, and what is the airflow. That's why even if there is just a fan in the room, it gives you some comfort. Cooler gives maybe better. And air conditioning has all the three components. But of course, in outdoor activities and in the larger population, this is not possible. So skin plays a major role. Now, sunburn can happen if it is exposed to sun rays for a longer time. And the best sunscreen is clothing. You know, if you look at the arm and forearm of a lady in the routine traditional, the forearm gets sunburned, upper arm doesn't get, because it is usually covered. So clothing is the best sunscreen. The chemical sunscreen have their own problems. And in a normal situation, unless there is a disease which is photosensitive disease like lupus erythematosus, and there are certain other diseases, one should not use sunscreen as a routine. Yeah, and you must be seeing that people, farmers who are working in field, people who are working outdoor, the sweating is important, and sunscreen coming to shade even for a shorter time helps rather than continuous stay in under the sun. So one has to avoid direct sunlight as well as the ambient temperature. So coming to shade helps in both ways. And of course, one has to kind of moderate the working environment according to the need. Somebody working indoor will require a type of modification.
Correct.
Somebody working outdoor will have, like putting a pagdi or muretha, which is a traditional way in the field. It helps a lot in direct sun exposure. You know, but then it should be loose enough. The clothing
Correct.
should be loose enough. So all these traditional measures are made to work in hot summer environment of India, a large part of India. And it has a lot of wisdom in it. So I want to re-emphasize that those measures which are considered traditional are much more important than so-called fancy sunscreen, etc.
That's right. Okay, now Dr. Saili, during when it is too hot, sometimes, you know, one starts feeling dizzy and one could even start to vomit. So this happens, I think, even with children. So what is this a manifestation of, and how can this be tackled?
Direct manifestations of heat. You know, with heat you can have heat cramps, there can be heat exhaustion, and the worst one is heat stroke. So heat cramps is when the baby, when the children, they are exposed to the heat and they are playing in the heat, they are doing some activity and they are short of water. That's the time when they start getting heat cramps. Heat cramps means that the babies will start having pain in the legs, the arms, they start having cramps in the stomach as well.
Correct.
So that's heat cramps. And they are undone by going into the shade and by having lots of water and taking care of the baby. But then the next one is heat exhaustion. Heat exhaustion is worse than the heat cramps. It's a little better than the heat stroke.
Okay.
Whereby the child will have nausea, they'll be vomiting, there can be dizziness, there can be, the skin becomes dry, the skin becomes moist and wet, and the baby is sweating, and the temperature is about 104 degrees.
Okay.
It will be around 104. It will be less than 104, but it will not cross 104 degrees. That's the time when the child is really bad. The child really needs to be brought into the shade, given a lot of water, loose clothes, and the air circulation should be improved. That's the one. The last one is heat stroke. Heat stroke is the worst. Heat stroke, you know, I mean, these are all the signs where the heat stroke is impending. And this is the time when the child is crying out that, help me out.
Right.
Child needs to be helped out at that point of time. Heat stroke is the one when the child will have all these features, which are there of the heat cramps as well as the heat exhaustion. In addition, the child will start feeling drowsy. Child will start having the hallucinations, start feeling delirious. Then he'll start having convulsions.
Oh,
He
okay.
have seizures,
Can get
and
that
he
bad.
Can
All
go to a
right.
coma. And the ultimate will be the child can just stop it. That's the worst. So one has to be very careful about these. This is a medical emergency. In the heat related illnesses, this is the medical emergency, is the heat stroke, where one has to really be very, very active in preventing it. And even once the child has had it, one has to seek the medical help immediately. And in the interim period, you have to keep the baby in a cool place, keep him in an air conditioned environment, and keep him in loose clothes, and give him a lot of air. So that a lot of air, he should be aerated well, so that there is the heat is taken off. And then he should give in lots of fluids. So fluids should be given IV. You know, these delirious children, they should not be given oral fluids, because oral fluids, they can lead to aspiration, and the baby can die.
Okay, right,
This is the
right,
important
right.
things.
So Dr. Basu, the same thing for the adults, you know, as I said, vomiting and nausea and cramping, as he said. So how is this to be taken care of with the adults?
See, in adults, apart from the conditions which Dr. Saili has mentioned for children, there are a couple more presentation in adults population.
Right.
Yes, there are heat cramps. In adults, apart from cramps, abdominal cramps, sometimes these cramps are in the calf muscles. They are very common.
Okay.
Almost we all have experienced once at least in their lifetime that we go for an exertional workout program, maybe on the weekends, we come back night time and we are asleep. Suddenly we have a cramp in the calf muscles or in the upper arm or in the abdomen. Then there is something what we call the heat edema, especially in elderly population. So because of sudden exposure to a hotter climate, sometimes the feet, they get swelled up.
Swollen, okay.
So definitely doctors, when they examine such patients, we have to rule out other causes of leg edema, but heat exposure per se can lead to this a thing called heat edema. Then there is something called heat syncope. The syncopal attacks, usually in school children, in NCC recruits, or some unaccustomed exposure to acute exposure to heat, environment which is ambient temperature is very high. it can suddenly lead to a transient loss of consciousness.
Okay, okay.
So person just faints, faints. So that's heat syncope, and definitely at the extreme end is a heat stroke. And unfortunately, some studies they have reported that mortality, the chances of dying from heat stroke, even if they are treated, if it is a classical proved heat stroke, it's about 25% of the people within 1 year they lose their life because of the consequences related to heat stroke.
Heat stroke,
A
right.
significant amount of people, they are left with some damage in their system, maybe some renal damage or some central nervous system brain damage, which may persist throughout life.
Right. So which means that one needs to take care of during the heat, particularly because as all the three doctors here are reiterating that this could even get fatal in certain conditions. So see to it that you really take care of yourself, and when you're out, cover yourself properly with cotton clothes and be well hydrated. That means drink a lot of water or any other fluids. If nothing else, then water is the best. So well folks, time for us to slip into a break, but when we come back, you yourself will be able to ask your questions. The numbers are running on your screen, which are 1800115314 and 23035420. Just remember that today we will be tackling questions only related to heat related illnesses. Welcome back. This is Healthy India, and today we are talking about heat-related illnesses. So if you have a question that's related to this condition, just pick up your phone and call us at 1800115314 and 23035420. Now, Dr. Khaitan, these days, you know, there are a lot of advertisements, whether on TV or in the print medium, that they talk of sunscreens and sunblocks and what have you. Now, this can leave, you know, the people totally confused as to what is good for them, and because they make you feel that this is something that you've got to do. If you don't use it, then you are done for.
You know, the basic premise of this advertisement of sunscreen as if sun is our enemy. It is not true. One of the important function of skin is vitamin D synthesis.
Correct.
And now it is public knowledge that though we belong to a country where there is a lot of sun,
Correct.
but you know, there is a lot of vitamin D deficiency as well in the general population.
True.
Because if you really see, general covering of skin is 70–80%, body surface area is anyway covered. So that means that protects from sun. Sunscreen are based on two concepts, that UVA and UVB. These are two spectrum of ultraviolet rays which may damage in certain situations, and that population is very, very small. So it is a medication. One should not consider it as a regular, you know, part of your daily life.
Right.
So there are conditions where it may be required, and then the doctors will prescribe it. But you are very right when you say that it has been overemphasized as if everybody has to protect from sun. No, not so. One has to have proportionate sun protection. If you are from morning till evening, you are under the sun. Tanning is another mechanism which is defense mechanism.
Right.
The melanin becomes little more, though the melanocytes are same, and that coming on the surface make your skin darker so that penetration of sun rays is less, and tanning goes after few days. So it's basically a physiological phenomenon. If you want to prevent even tanning, that means you are not allowing your skin to function as much as it should.
As it should.
And sweating, as we have already discussed, is any, I mean, thermoregulation, what we call. If you remember, if there is no sweating, Dr. Shelley will say that there can be hyperthermia, and there can be children who can suffer even with small activity, forget about fever or febrile illnesses. So sweating is an important aspect which skin plays a role, and sunscreen, I will again de-emphasize the role of sunscreen.
Of sunscreen.
Yeah,
All right.
one should not use unless the doctor prescribes for a particular photosensitive condition.
Correct. Yeah. So I think that's important for the public to understand. Well, folks, we have a viewer with us. This is Vashisht from Faridabad. So Vashisht, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yes, please.
I just want to ask, I have granddaughter 3 months old. We are in confusion whether we should give her water or not. From many places we are trying to find out. They are saying mother milk is sufficient.
That's right.
But at the same time, some people say we should give some water because the season is very hot?
I think that's a good question, and many people may be wanting to know the answer to that one. So, yes,
Well,
Dr.
he knows
Zaid.
the answer himself. He's very well said that the breast milk is the best milk, and that is what you need to give. There's plenty of water in the breast milk. So you don't need to give any water in supplement to the breast milk. Breast milk has got enough water, and please give the breast milk alone. If the child is thirsty, give him breast milk. That's about it. There's no water to be given till 6 months. No water at all is to be given. Exclusive breastfeeding is the answer. So
right.
breast milk is the best for your child, and once the child is thirsty, you give him more breast milk. That's
So,
about
Mr. Vashisht, I think now you have no doubts in your mind, and absolutely right that just for 6 months, breast milk is the only thing that you need to feed your child with. All right, so Dr. Arvind, now there are other illnesses also that can manifest themselves during this summer season, especially when the heat is at such high temperatures.
Absolutely.
So, which are those illnesses, especially for children that
Well, you
needs
have
to
the
be careful?
heat, directly the illnesses which are because of the heat, which we already discussed. Heat syncope, heat exhaustion, and heat stroke. But then there are heat related illnesses where the consequence of the heat will be there and the organism will grow. They have a medium to grow and start growing. They are the viruses. Which are the viruses? The viruses are there are so many viruses which will start growing, and the bacteria which will start growing during this time.
Correct.
Bacteria wise, staphylococcal is one which will grow, and staphylococcal gives rise to food poisoning. You know, so if there's a stale food lying there, that is a very very fantastic place for the bacteria to grow. The bacteria grows, and that's what gives rise to food poisoning. That's one thing. And the other bacteria as well. Then out of the viruses, we have the viruses, the respiratory syncytial virus. There are so many other viruses, ecoviruses. These are viruses which are present even in the summers. They start acting in the summers, and the child will have problems in the summer. So these viruses will give rise to the various illnesses, which will include the bronchiolitis and the respiratory conditions, and then they'll have diarrheas. Diarrheas, the major viruses in diarrhea are the ones which will give rise to the loose stools, and the child may even have the what you call the dysentery. And this is a time when the child needs to be hydrated very well.
Correct.
The dehydration is what causes the major problem. How do you pick up the dehydration? The dehydration is picked up by the fact that the child will be very thirsty, he'll be irritable, he'll be restless, and then his skin pinch. You know, if you pinch the skin it starts tenting out. It
So it doesn't
remains
go back
at a-
that
it doesn't go
quickly.
back instantly, and there's a tent out there. So that if it remains for a while, then it's bad, and if it remains for a longer while, it's worse. So that's how you pick up the dehydration, whether it's some dehydration or severe dehydration. So these are the factors which will occur in a child who will have illnesses in these summers because of the viruses and because of the bacteria.
Right. Well, we have another viewer from Delhi. This is Nikhil. So, Nikhil, welcome to the show. Nikhil, are you there with me?
Yes, I'm there with you.
Yeah, welcome to the show, and kindly go ahead.
Very good evening to all the doctors present there. Good evening. I have a small question.
Yes.
That is, my worker, he's working in my house, but he's suffering from stomach ache, and he's repeatedly saying that there are cramps on his leg. So I would like to ask the doctors, what measures would they suggest?
All right. Thank you for the question. And I think though we had discussed this a little while ago, but yes, Dr. Basu can take this.
I think we were discussing about leg cramps,
Leg
we were
cramps.
discussing about stomach aches.
Right.
So Nikhil might have concluded that this may be because of the heat
Correct.
stress on the system.
We have a very intelligent viewers, Dr. Basu. Yes.
But what I would like to advise Nikhil is just show him to a doctor. Don't try to self-diagnose.
And certainly not through a TV show,
Not
because
through
here
a TV
these
show,
are only
of course.
symptomatic, advice that these
Because
doctors here can give
there
you.
are a number of conditions in which these two presenting symptoms may. There are many conditions where there is leg pain, and similarly there are more than 100 conditions which
Yeah.
a person can be presented with pain abdomen.
Right.
So better to show it to some medical practitioner.
Right. So that's the doctor's advice here. Please take your help to a doctor. Okay. Now, Dr. Basu, during the summers, on the roadside, you find a lot of kiosks where they are selling fruit, cut fruits particularly, just to cool down people, and people in hordes want to go and have those fruits. And sometimes these fruits may not be properly covered. So now, what are the dangers that people get exposed to because of these cut fruits that are eating on the roadside?
See, Lottie, as a thumb rule, I'll say any season, it's a cold season or a heat season or any rainy season. So cut fruit, eating cut fruit from outside is a big no.
Big no.
We must avoid fruits which are cut by somebody else and they are presented to you in the cut form.
Right.
We should avoid altogether
Completely,
those.
yes.
But the dangers involved is, usually we say the dangers involved is because of some infection which settles in, because fruits, these are very good culture medium for our microbes. They are very good media to transport viruses. They are very good media for those toxins which are produced by bacteria to stay in there, and the toxin remains active for some time, and when these things are ingested, they can lead to diseases. They are very simple diseases like simple diarrhea or vomiting, or it can lead to dysentery, it can lead to shock, it can lead to some diseases which are slightly more grave like typhoid fever. It can lead to some diseases which are slightly still more grave like hepatitis A or E. They can be. So there are many gastrointestinal diseases which one can get through cutting through the ingestion cut fruit.
Right,
because we don't boil these things
Correct.
before they are given to you. So food which is recently sterilized, especially by thorough cooking, boiling like that, should be consumed at any season, at any hour of the day, at any month of the year, or any day of the month. That is what I will like to advise.
All right. Well, there is another view online. This is Paresh Panchal from Gujarat. So, Paresh ji, welcome to the show.
जी नमस्कार.
Namaskar.
आँखों को किस प्रकार से प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है गर्मी के कारण, और हम देखते हैं कि सीजन बदलती है, ज्यादा गर्मी पड़ती है तो कई लोगों को मानसिक स्तर पर भी इसकी इफेक्ट हो जाती है, तो ये क्या ऐसा इसके संभव है? धन्यवाद.
Thank you for the question. I think he's right, because you know people rages, they fly all over, especially when it is hot. So Dr. Basu, would you like to tell him first for the eyes he wanted to know?
बताना चाहूँगा कि दो क्वेश्चन में से आँखें यस, कई बार मजाक में बोलते हैं कि इतनी गर्मी है कि आंखें भी झुलस गई. एक तरीके से ठीक है कि जब आप गर्मी में बाहर एक्सपोज हैं किसी ना किसी कारण से और अपना पूरा अच्छी तरीके से पानी नहीं पी पा रहे, तो कई बार आंखों में एक जलन जैसी अनुभूति हो सकती है. आंखें थोड़ी सी लाल भी हो सकती है. दूसरा ये कि हर सीजन, जब भी कोई सीजन बदलता है तो कुछ अलग किस्म के पॉलन ग्रेन्स आते हैं, और कुछ पॉलन ग्रेन्स ऐसे भी होते हैं जो एलर्जीज करते हैं. खासतौर पर आंखों की एलर्जी भी कई बार बदलते सीजन में हो सकती है, तो वो भी कारण होता है आंखों को करने के लिए. तो ये आंखों के लिए ये इम्पोर्टेंट है कि भी जैसा हीट स्ट्रेस के मैं बारे में बता रहा था कि खूब अच्छी तरह से पानी पिया जाए, डायरेक्ट सन एक्सपोजर से बचा जाए इस दौरान, तो वो सब चीज़ें आंखों के लिए भी फॉलो होंगी. और बहुत ज़्यादा अगर किसी को लगता है कि भी सन एक्सपोज हो गया है और बाहर उसकी आंखों में जलन हो रही है, तो शायद जितना जल्दी हो सके ठंडे पानी से आंखें बार बार धोना भी एक अच्छी आदत बन सकती है. और
And the other part was that people feel mentally very challenged, at least angry. I think that's what he's wanting to ask.
एक तो मेंटल इरिटेशन, जो हम समझ रहे हैं कि मेंटल इरिटेशन के बारे में बता रहे हैं, जब भी कोई ऐसा टेम्परेचर या कोई ऐसी सिचुएशन में हमें डाला जाता है जिसमें हम ठीक महसूस नहीं कर रहे, तो एक मेंटल इरिटेबिलिटी हो सकती है. लेकिन एक और कंडीशन है जिसको हम बोल रहे थे कि हीट स्ट्रोक या हीट सिनकोपी या हीट एग्जॉशन, उसमें भी हल्का सा मेंटल चेंजेस. हीट स्ट्रोक में तो बेहोशी भी हो सकती है, कोई इंसान बिल्कुल ही बेहोश हो जाए. तो अगेन, अगर किसी भी ऐसी कंडीशन में जहां हीट स्ट्रेस से एक्सपोज हुआ है इंसान, उसमें अगर किसी भी प्रकार का मानसिक चेंज, किसी भी प्रकार का मानसिक चेंज महसूस किया जाता है, डिसओरिएंटेशन हो सकती है, पहचानने से इनकार करते हैं, वो मानसिक अजीब किस्म का एक भयभीत दिखने वाला इंसान, आपको लगेगा कि कुछ.
I'll have to come back to this because this is quite interesting and it should be explained in detail, but it's time for us to slip into yet another break. But people do come back quickly as this discussion will continue on the other side. And do remember our numbers, which are 1800115314 and 23035420. So do try your luck and see whether your call can get connected, and keep the volume of your TV set to the bare minimum when you call us. So don't go away, as we'll all see you on the other side.